And let's go to two people who are at the heart of what was happening in the national capital. Sachin Pilot, former Deputy Chief Minister of Rajasthan, senior Congress leader, joining me. Also, Srinivas has just come out, I think, of detention. Youth Congress Chief is joining me. But to you, Sachin Pilot, first, explain what has happened today. The government is saying the Congress is unnecessarily escalating this issue by hitting the street day after day. Allow the law to take its own course. You are itching for a fight. And that is not the way a democracy works. How do you respond to them when they say this is not the way a political party should respond when its leader is being questioned by the ED?
I think the whole world knows, Rajdeep, that the agencies of Government of India, whether it's ED or CBI or income tax, for the last 7 years have acted according to the political masters. Not a single BJP leader has ever been questioned or raided. The fact that there is blatant misuse and influence of the ruling party on these agencies is a matter of concern. The fact that Congress party was taking out a peaceful march just to show our concern about how the agency is being misused. The police entered the Congress party's headquarters with lathi charge. Our senior leaders were beaten black and blue. Our women MPs were thrown on the street. I mean, this kind of brute force being used is for the first time being witnessed in the national capital. I think nobody in the Congress party is looking for violence. In fact, I know anybody who uses...
No, I'm playing shots of tires. No, Mr. Pilot, I'm playing some shots of tires burning outside the ED office. Now, that is unacceptable. I mean, you've got to condemn that. Is that what you want to show?
But you should also condemn the fact that the police action beating people up in our own party office. If I am saying I want to follow the law, break no rules, so that must apply to the Delhi police also. How can you have the police enter an office and beat up people, detain them, put them under house arrest, put them in buses and detain thousands of people across the city? The point is that if you are using the police as a political tool, sure, then say it. All we are saying is that the blatant misuse of the agencies has now come to the fore. We want to expose that. As a political party, I'm within my right to do that. But the Government of India and the Delhi police must act in a way that is becoming of an elected government. What's happened in the last 2 or 3 days is that they have shown no regard for sentiment, for opposition. Anyone who opposes the BJP, their voice will be muzzled. They will be attacked. They'll be brutalized. They'll be raided. They'll be, there'll be character assassination. And also, who is telling you these questions that ED is asking Mr. Rahul Gandhi? How do we know what is being asked, what is being said? This selective leakage of information also is a very planted ploy to make sure that the focus is not on the killings of the Kashmiri Pandits in the valley or of education, unemployment, price rise, the country's in distress in many sectors. But to avoid a discussion on those issues, they're using this to always keep the country on a boil, to have a policy of acrimony. I think anyone who uses foul language, anyone who uses violence as a mean, I will never support that. But the same rule must apply to Government of India and to the Delhi police. Look at what they did today. Women MP, the clothes were torn.
They are saying Section 144.
Harish Rawat. This is not acceptable in a democracy.
Okay, I want you to pause for a moment because, Srinivas, who on video has been caught being kicked by a Delhi police officer, is joining us. That video has now gone viral. That's why he's joining us. Srinivas, were you, as is being suggested by the police, provoking people? You were provoking people. There was Section 144 there. Despite that, you and Youth Congress, आप लोग सब रास्ते पर आ गए. What is the police supposed to do? They are saying.
देखिए पुलिस किस तरीके के ACC ऑफिस तक घुसते हैं अंदर, तो कार्यकर्ता चुप के देख के बैठ सकते हैं क्या कोई? मैं कांग्रेस कार्यकर्ता हूं, मेरे साथ आप ये लोग पुलिस कुछ भी करे, मेरे को कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता है. बट जो किस तरीके की जो मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट है, जो पॉलिसी मेकर्स है, वो भी स्पेशली महिला लोकसभा ज्योति मनी से लेके तमाम मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट के साथ किस तरीके के इन लोग ने व्यवहार किया. और एआईसीसी सेक्रेटरी, जनरल सेक्रेटरी, कोई कौन सा कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन में नहीं है? एआईसीसी ऑफिस में हम लोग नहीं जा सकते, एआईसीसी ऑफिस बेरा नहीं जा सकते, चारों जगह इस तरीके के.
उनका कहना है सेक्शन 144 है, सेक्शन 144 है, आप सेक्शन 144 का उल्लंघन नहीं कर सकते थे.
और रात में बीच में रात में 3 बजे आके लगा देगा, स्टिकर लगा देगा 144 सेशन करके. ये थोड़ी है इनका काम. हाँ, किस तरीके के जो एक्स सेंट्रल मिनिस्टर से और मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट है, सीएम से लेके तमाम लोगों के साथ किस तरीके के व्यवहार किया है.
आप लोग ने टायर जलाए कि नहीं जलाए?
ऑफिस के कार्यकर्ता लोग ने जलाया होगा, बट ऑफिस के अंदर वो लोग ने किस तरीके के व्यवहार किया, एक पत्रकार तक नहीं छोड़ा. उसको धक्का लेके वैन पे बिठा के पुलिस ने ले जाता है. कौन कार्यकर्ता चुप के बैठे रहते हैं बताइए? उनके ऑफिस में कोई जाके करेगा तो वो लोग बैठे रहते हैं ऐसे.
ठीक है, Sachin Pilot, there are two ways to look at the optics. One is to suggest that here is the Congress party standing by its leader. The other is that just as you accuse the government of creating, in a way, a diversion, the Congress is also making a public spectacle of an issue which should be treated within the realms of the law. Allow the law to take its own course. This is the second time I'm asking you that. Allow the law to take its own course without allowing it to become a public spectacle in this manner.
So Rajdeep, we in the Congress or Mrs. Gandhi or Rahul Gandhi have nothing to hide. You can ask any questions, you can do whatever investigations you want, but the motive behind this pressure tactics, the whole country is witness to the fact that anybody who opposes the BJP will face the wrath of the government of the day. It's simple as that. I want to know why there's undue influence on the agencies, why are they not functioning in a transparent manner, and after 7 years, you're picking up a case and trying to summon people. Now Mr. Gandhi has been called again day after. So this is basically, it's a political, one-upsmanship where you're trying to say that if you're in opposition, if you raise a voice within parliament or outside, we'll come for you, we'll come after you. It's simple as that. There is no FIR, there is no complaint, there is no misappropriation of any funds that we can see. But the selective leakages from the questioning that's happening in the ED office is also very suspect. So we don't know. Legally, we are open to any investigations we want to do as a government of India. But the motive, the way it's being done, and the politicization of the agencies, that's something that's not healthy for our future and for our democracy.
I'm going to ask you, are you going to continue, therefore, to agitate in this manner? This agitation will not stop, is what you're saying. Are you telling me that every day that Rahul Gandhi is questioned, we are going to see this spectacle taking place outside?
Let me explain to you. First day, we did not put up a stage, no mics, no bhashan. We wanted a Satyagrah, a non-violent, peaceful Gandhian march. That much right the Congress party has to protest or not. That was denied. Then the police action took place. Permissions were denied. People were house arrested. So how does one protest a democracy? You tell me, Mr. Rajdeep, if I want to protest against the government policy, I can't gather in a place, I can't make a speech, I can't do a padyatra, I can't do a bhukartal. How do you protest about what you feel is wrong in this country? So if you take away those rights, then, it shows that the iron hand of the government will come down upon you. And if you happen to oppose the government, then so be it. Then you will face the wrath of the government. In a democracy, you have to respect the opposition and its views, have the patience and heart to listen to what we have to say. You may not agree, but the country needs to know what we stand for and what we believe in. But if you muzzle the voices of the people in the Congress party, that's not a healthy sign for our democracy at all.
बीबी श्रीनिवास, आपको सबसे ज्यादा मैं देखता हूं, सबसे ज्यादा एजिटेशन आप ही रहते हैं उसमें. जहां एजिटेशन होता है वहां श्रीनिवास होता है. कितनी लगी है आज?
नहीं, या पूरा कांग्रेस का सारे कार्यकर्ता, सारे लीडर, सब लोग सड़क पे है. मैं अकेला नहीं हूं. और तमाम जो कार्यकर्ता नॉन स्टॉप, ये जो भी कितने बार बुलाएगा, हम लोग का लड़ने का है इनके सरकार के खिलाफ. किस तरीके के जो जानबूझ के ये पॉलिटिकल वेंडेटा कर रहा है. मैं इनको एक ही बात पूछना चाहता हूं, 8 साल में कितने इनका बीजेपी का मेंबर ऑफ पार्लियामेंट है, मिनिस्टर से इतना करप्शन केसेस में इन लोग का पार्टी से पूरा बाहर आया, आप लोग ने दिखाया. इंक्लूडिंग माई स्टेट का मैं बात करता हूं, कर्नाटक में 40% सरकार चल रहा है. एक मिनिस्टर के घर में 2-2 मशीन, मनी मशीन, काउंटिंग मशीन दिखता है, उनका कोई नहीं है. अमित शाह का बेटा 50,000 लगा के 80 करोड़ कमाते हैं, उसको कोई ईडी नहीं है, आईटी नहीं है, कुछ नहीं है. ओनली कांग्रेस लीडर क्यों है? जब भी चुनाव आता है कांग्रेस लीडर के ऊपर आईटी रेड हो जाएगा, ईडी रेड हो जाएगा. ये डराने का जो पॉलिटिक्स करा रहे हैं ना, इससे कांग्रेस कभी डरते नहीं है.
I will ask one final question, therefore, to you, Mr. Pilot. How will you respond to those who will say that the Congress has been dispirited? You're using this to try and galvanize your cadres. You've suffered election defeat after defeat. Why don't you protest with the same vehemence when it comes to core issues that concern the public? Price rise. Take up those issues rather than taking up issues which concern the Congress party only. Will you take up a public campaign like this, maybe for a month in the future, on the real issues that affect people?
In fact, what we are trying to do is bring the focus back on the real issues. There is unemployment, there's price rise. Like I said, Kashmiri Pandits have been massacred in the valley. So these are the issues that government gives no answers to. Deflect the discussion on those particular issues. They'll do some raids, some CBI, some ED, and keep the things boiling on. And the point is that we in the Congress and the opposition have the right, and we will speak for people all the time. But the institution that they are being misusing today are important for our republic to remain neutral and transparent. You can't allow them to become weapons for the government to use against the opposition. And whether it's young people, whether it's now recently they've announced this bharti in the army, etc. I mean, these are issues that young people are concerned, and Congress has always spoken about them, about all inflation. There's record farmers' distress today. That's all Mr. Gandhi, Mrs. Gandhi, all of us keep talking about. But they don't want to engage in that discussion. They want to do some raid, keep some temperatures boiling, some divisive politics, some slogan, some ex-BJP spokesperson will talk about the prophet, some will talk about some Hindu god. They are trying to change the narrative from the real issues, and we want to bring the discussion back on what's important to the people of India.
So you're saying the government is responsible for the weapons of mass distraction, as some would call it, even as the government says the Congress is making a spectacle of a legal case. Either way, we'll wait and see how this plays out. Please stay well. I believe one of you is still in a police station, or you've been, Mr. Pilot, for most of the day. And Srinivas,
no, I'm still here. I'm still here.
You're still at the police station. So you're speaking to us from the police station in Narela. आप भी police station में हैं क्या?
They've allowed me to use the phone at the police station, so they've been quite gracious.
हॉस्पिटल
अच्छा, आप हॉस्पिटल में थे, क्या हुआ आपको?
ये थोड़ा चोट लगी थी, उसको दिखाने आया हूँ.
I want to show that picture once again to viewers. Can I just show that picture? Because I think you need to recognize, politicians have to be ready for in mass protest, that there will be the odd instance of violence. But can we just show that picture? That is Srinivas, now with us. This is him being kicked at that particular moment. So clearly, in a way, there are question marks over the way the Delhi police has handled this entire episode. Let's leave it there. Sachin, Pilot, B.V. Srinivas, stay well, stay safe. Thanks very much for joining me here at the top of the news. Thank you.